In this little lesson, I want to look at the blood vessels that drain the heart muscle itself, so the cardiac veins. The cardiac veins, I'm looking from a posterior view of the heart. We'll go from posterior to anterior as we look at, because if you want to remind yourself just really quickly, you can see here the inferior vena cava and here the superior vena cava, and let me outline your right atria. So we have all this. The left atria seen here, and you can see the pulmonary veins as blood comes in. Just as a quick reference as to where we are sitting here, this will help you in understanding from this view where we are and what we're going to be discussing. So coming from here, remember the veins are all dumping and draining into the vena cava. So as we begin here, it's pretty safe, and a nice little thing to look at is this big area right here, as our coronary sinus. Now, if you remember, inside the right atria, there is a little hole called the opening of the coronary sinus. So when you guys know where this goes into inside the heart, I'm going to try to cover this in pretty thoroughly here, give us a good size thing to start with. Now, in red, I'm going to draw the larger vein that comes off, called the great cardiac vein. The great cardiac vein will go off of the coronary sinus, and you'll see it continuing on to the front of the heart in the next part, just like we did with the coronary arteries, cardiac veins, and we'll extend it outwards because it does wrap around. And you want to think about these like tributaries moving into a larger river, and the larger river being the coronary sinus and the small tributaries being the veins. Now, as I move to green, we're going to draw two other that you have to know, and there are a middle and posterior cardiac vein. The middle cardiac vein is going to come down here, of course, in the middle. The middle cardiac vein is going to get, as it moves smaller to larger. And the blood is going to drain outwards into this, up to the coronary sinus. And this will help you guys kind of figure out what's going on here. And it's a good way to draw these. It's a really handy way to understand what's going on with anatomy. And then I'll draw small little branches as they will drain the tissue. Now, as we have here with our middle, our posterior cardiac vein, I'm going to draw it in purple, is going to come off from here, and it's going to bring in and drain out blood from this section of the heart. So a small section that it does drain. And it is, like I said, really handy to kind of draw things and give an idea where things are sitting in the body. Now we'll draw little vessels coming off of there, and that'll help you kind of get these guys. Now, with these three that can be seen here, the great cardiac vein in red, the middle cardiac vein in green, and the purple being the posterior cardiac vein, we only have one left, and I'm going to show it in orange, and it's going to wrap around the back here. It's the small cardiac vein, and it comes from the back side of your coronary sinus. Small cardiac vein sits right here. Now, as we continue on with this, I'm going to pause and I'm going to pull up an anterior view. So the next time you see this will be an anterior view, and we'll look at that. So let me pause and change images. So now you're looking at an anterior view, and we left ourselves with the great cardiac vein that we had drawn, and we saw it coming off in red, and we continue on with it going down. And that pairs with the anterior interventricular artery that we've seen before. So it's going to be seen in the same place. So this can be tricky for an anatomy student, and right now we're only looking at bit by bit. And we can just see that one continuing on there. Now, in reality, the other ones that we actually see on the anterior view, there's not really any of the ones we actually concern ourselves with. So the great cardiac vein does continue on the forward, and I did have it in red previously, so we can just see how that goes on the anterior heart. And remember, this drains blood away, and it will take the oxygen poor blood, take it back around to the vena cava seen here. And you want to take that and bring that blood back in so we can take it back into the systemic circuit pick the blood back up, take it back from our aorta here, and we can send that back out to the heart muscle itself to supply the heart with blood as we drain it outwards and bring it back in. And this concludes my little video lesson on coronary arteries and then cardiac veins. These two go together. This is the cardiac veins video. I hope you find these videos helpful in your study of human anatomy. And this concludes my video.